Zini.
Are there any speakers?
No public comment.
Okay.
All right. From the agenda, item 3A, summer project update. So we are moving along with the summer projects. There is a recap in your packet with regards to the Cowherd mechanical improvements. They are the transformer and concrete pad have been installed on the south side of the building, mechanical piping throughout the building, and so they are moving right along. I did want to make note that we did have an incident with some penetrations in the roof that they had, and they had those covered, but I think the cover blew off during a rainstorm, so we did get water in the building. And so the contractor is aware and is going to be responsible for any of the fallout from that. But our guys did a great job of coming in. It was a Sunday morning and cleaned it up and did a great job. So thanks to the response from AJ and his team for that.
Is that the rooftop? Are they putting rooftop units up there?
They're doing a little of both, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, because I saw on the way here they've got yellow flagging up and that on the roof.
Yeah.
So is that related to that?
Well, it's that, and some of it is the roof. They're repairing some of the roof as well as they're doing. So they're kind of doing both things at once.
Okay.
Masonry repair at Fred Rogers is moving along. We do have some other roof replacement work at the high school, as well as the envelope project and the window replacement. So they've got the north side of the building windows replaced. So they're moving along well with that as well. Fire panel replacements are ongoing at Fred Rogers and Simmons. So we will update those. And then the windows at Allen are also going. So the site improvements are also the Brady. We're redoing that parking lot. And along with that, we're moving the playground. So that's being moved, as well as some of the other playgrounds that are being in place. That's all work that's been going on.
The Brady playgrounds?
Yes. Moving closer to the building, and then we're redoing the parking lot to add a little bit more parking spaces, and that way the kids aren't cutting across the parking lot every day to get to the playground.
Did we buy new equipment for that?
That was part of the group that we're going with this summer, including the pour and play base.
Because wasn't that one of the schools that we did a joint effort with at some partnership?
That was Bardwell.
No, Brady too. Brady definitely had. Can't remember who it was, but I know
they funded. I think.
Yeah.
The whole thing or whatever. I mean, there were a lot of volunteers that participated.
Yeah, it was when I don't think she's been gone that long, but Margot was the grant writer. They had a big thing out there.
Okay.
One of our community partners.
Yes.
Huh. Okay.
So
it was in such bad disrepair
that we needed to do. Yes.
Was it not the same company though?
I know that the Bardwell playground wasn't the same. It was
like Kaboom or something.
Kaboom, yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so Kaboom was Brady too.
Okay.
Okay.
But that was prior to, I think, the Bardwell one as well.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Could you get back to the committee on those replacements through the Kaboom?
Sure.
Initiative, the years that was done and the costs that was outlaid for that.
Seemed like there was a big community fundraising event with that though. So
okay.
Just want to make sure we're not pushing aside our community partners.
So the Allen window replacement, what's the schedule on that for completion?
The completion for that goes right up till the middle of August, like August 15th.
I see.
Yep.
Boy, if you didn't know any better when you drove by that school, you think something happened.
It looks abandoned. Yeah. I know they have wood on a portion of it for the windows, but they're working their way around there.
But, it's progress, but
so. And then we also had we had some leaks at Dietrich with their roof. So we are getting that an assessment on that just to see what needs to happen there. But it was just in a small portion of the a few of the classrooms. So I know we had quite a bit of rain recently, but we want to make sure that we tighten those up.
Is that an older roof, Dietrich?
A portion of it is. So we've done some work on there. We're just checking on this other portion here.
Okay.
So Mike, how do we account for when a company that we're dealing with, causes damage to the facility? How do we recoup that? How do we track that? How does that work?
They typically have liability insurance for the scope of the entirety of the project, and they typically file an insurance claim, and then they fix the
So
repairs.
A claim will be filed then.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then, so I know that a lot of times we do the update with the B&G or the architect and the capital expenditure projects, but I just also wanted to just give you an update. AJ and Nick from the administrative team in B&G have done a great job of organizing just weekly progress and doing school maps of the cleaning inside the building. So every Friday, the building lead will report out, send a map to our administrative team, just letting us know how many rooms have been cleaned, where they're at with that process. And that gives us an opportunity to kind of spot check how things are going. But the staff's been doing a great job, and we are close to 35 to 40% of the rooms are, their summer cleaning has been done. So we keep moving along with that. We know that with Cowherd, with that project, that we're going to need to kind of bring a team together to go in and clean that towards the end of the summer. So just giving you an update that we're doing well with the cleaning as well.
Do we still deal with wood flooring in our classrooms?
In some of our classrooms that have wood flooring,
And
yes.
do we have to periodically sand those down?
Yes, and then finish those, yeah.
So labor.
We don't have a lot.
Yeah.
And again, some of it's more nostalgic, like they're in good shape and
Yeah.
but
It's very labor intensive.
it just, and it depends on the area. Like if we're going in to do a remodel or whatever that looks like, say for the HVAC project, we have removed some of those. And if they're really warping, we've replaced a small section here and there, but at some point they're going to need to be replaced.
Wow.
But
Okay. Good to know.
Do we continue to keep doing the carpet refreshes and
yes,
things like that?
yes.
So we're pretty much getting away from carpet.
Carpeting, yes. We're
Okay,
moving to
good.
the LVT flooring.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So much cheaper.
Mm.
And it's
durable.
easier to keep upkeep for sure.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Next item is custodial supply bid results. So we did go out to bid for the custodial supplies. We did send out to local vendors that are in the area. We sent out to 10 different vendors the bid specs. We ended up getting 5 bids back. So we opened up 5 bids, and the results are in your packet.
Okay.
and-
So are we on any bidding websites?
So, and we are with our contractors through the architects. We did not go on to a bid for a couple of these local that we just did the lawn care service, and the custodial bid we did not.
Okay.
And I talked with Dr. Engel about that. That was kind of my, when we do that through the architects, and a lot of our bids go out through the architects, but for this particular time, we did not. We sent the bid specs out to an email group of vendors that we have used and that we know of in the area.
And we only had 5 people return a quote.
We had 5 bids to open. Yeah.
So those prices are actually very high. I'm going to say that, but I think we really need to get ourselves out like on a bid net site or something like that, because that will attract more larger companies. Just like Warehouse Direct. Warehouse Direct is owned by Staples. They are a large company, so, but they do have a lot of competition, and, so I'm not. And here's the other thing. Those prices are not only are they high, but Warehouse Direct, I'm sure, gets all the little things that we need that don't fall into this bid.
Right.
So those things have a super high margin to them.
Well,
And,
and their numbers did so we currently have Warehouse Direct. That's who our contract's ending with.
Mhm.
And those numbers that they submitted are lower than what we're paying. So I think that they knew based on, and that's, I mean, obviously that's why we do the
well,
bidding.
the industry's coming down a lot.
Okay.
It is coming down. So, getting into any kind of long-term contract on this may not be a good thing, but I think kind of opening that pool up to like a bid net. There's like 4 or 5 of
Sure.
them that are pretty aggressive, and a lot of school districts are on them.
Okay.
So
Steve, did we do an extension? Was it last year?
We did.
On that?
We've done an extension actually for 2 years. So it was time to go back out for sure.
I see. Mhm.
We had waited in the past 2 years. We were a little concerned about the COVID prices that were high, and we didn't know if we were going to get anything better.
Okay.
okay, so this is what, a 1-year contract?
I believe it's 3.
Okay.
What's the value of the I mean, total, I mean, these are unit prices, right? Is that what we're
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Is there a,
So there's not a total amount because those numbers are based on our units, and whether we get 200 units or 200 cases of bags and 100 cases. So that number we only order based on what we need, not necessarily a bulk number.
historically?
And we have that information as well.
So is this being brought to the board then for the vote, or?
Yes, for next time.
For next time, okay.
Okay. I think we should go with a 1-year contract and aggressively get ourselves on bidding sites. Start saving
Okay.
money.
For 1 year? Okay.
Yeah. And once we get used to using those bidding sites, there's many other things. People are buying furniture and a lot of different items on there that we could probably, that the district uses. So you would be amazed.
Okay.
So
All right.
And I guess what we'll do is we will talk to the contractor about a 1-year agreement. And if they are not interested, then we would suggest to cancel this out and we go back out to bid.
mhm.
Only because their numbers were based on 3 years. So. Any other questions on that?
No.
No.
Lawn care bid. So we did go back out to bid for lawn care, and we did not successful. We had just one bidder, actually the same bidder as last time, which we believe the amount is extremely high. We did advertise, and we pushed out the bid to, again, a number of companies around the area, and we did translate the bid specs in Spanish for potentially getting more interest.
Mhm.
We didn't get that. So our recommendation would be to reject that. And then another option that we have, we went back, AJ and I went back and took a look at our process and what we could do. And we believe what we'd like to do is, if we were to hire 2 more grounds crew that would be able to support the district, we would believe that we would be able to handle the grounds. And then in the wintertime, they would be able to work as substitute custodians, as painters if we needed some special projects. And then they can also continue, depending on the weather, they would snow plow or take care of the grounds. So that would be another option. We're just not having any luck. And I think, I said this before, but I think part of the problem is when we break up what we need, we break up our district into a zone, and there's 5 or 6 schools that we're looking to be cut. If I'm a single or just a smaller landscape company, I may only want a couple more houses, for instance. I'm not looking to commit to a larger group like a schools.
Yeah, that brings me to my first question. So when did we originally go out to bid? Was it, what month was that?
We went in April.
I mean, could it be that, some of the larger landscape companies have already maxed out their commitments for the season? I mean, we're kind of,
In talking to a number, there's a couple. Some of the concerns from people that we've talked to included that they were looking for also doing plowing. So some of the large companies do work into the winter as well. But the other option is, yeah, there are companies. We talked to someone that doesn't necessarily want to buy. They have a certain amount that they do, and they'd have to buy more equipment and hire more people, and they were not interested in that as well.
yeah. And, I think I mentioned this at our last committee meeting, back in 17 or 18, we looked at a green team. I suppose if we look at the records or the minutes of some of those meetings, there was a green team proposal. And at the time, and I continue to be a supporter of doing it in-house if we can with our own people. Or if we need to hire staff that's still more efficient than, farming it out, great. But I think we've kind of treaded this before, so maybe it's worth looking at that proposal. I mean, we haven't changed that much in our footprint
For sure.
over the past couple of years. So
Yeah.
maybe that's worthy of taking a look at that and how that was presented.
Okay.
Because I know the board at the time looked at that favorably, but I don't recall what the.
Well, I'm definitely for keeping it in house. They are our community people, and for the cost of this, we're well within our budget. We're actually saving money by hiring a couple people, and we always have people absent or people on workers' comp or things like that we do need to have fill-ins.
Fill-ins,
So
sure.
it's it just boosts up this. I think it helps the staff a lot.
Okay.
I think it gets back into the climate and the culture. People don't become so overwhelmed chasing their tails. So,
All right.
chasing their tails. Let's see here.
Any other questions on that?
No, let's get a proposal and let's execute on something. It seems like we
Yeah.
churning on this for probably far too long. So
Okay.
that's good. Let's make sure our buildings look good.
Item 3D is the GG circuit purchase. This GG circuit is needed to manage and maintain the rec center esports computers and the games available to students. And so this would be a purchase that we would install on those computers.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
No.
Item 3E is fire safety services clarification. I just wanted to go on record. I was quoted last meeting as I misread a spreadsheet with the amount of money that we spent on the fire safety testing last year, and I had said it was $300. It was actually $120,000. So I wanted to make sure that that was clear for the record. However, it doesn't change our it doesn't change the results of the bid. It doesn't change the recommendation or the most responsive bidder. So that was just a clarification based on the number that I had said last time.
Okay.
Okay, appreciate that.
The next item is the Jumpstart preschool relocation. Did you want to say anything or you want me to?
I can, yeah, I got it. Okay. So the Jumpstart, we're super excited that we have worked together with Rosary Horn and Steve and myself, and we actually were brain trusting, for a while. I think it's been probably over a year. We've been looking at options for Jumpstart. as the program grows. And we had previously even talked about a new location of acquiring a location, a building, or renting somewhere. And as we did an evaluation within our own schools, we found that we had room and a very, very accommodating leadership team at Johnson Elementary. And so what we were able to do I think they did a couple site visits, and I was able to walk the building with them and with Principal Inez Sim. And we have an entire wing with an external door and with plenty of parking that we could accommodate our Jumpstart program right in our very own district. And so we thought that was such a positive opportunity for us to move our Jumpstart program. And so now, instead of being squished into one classroom with, I believe, 9 Jumpstart educators in one classroom at ECC, when we still have the issue of trying to relocate our gross motor skills room, which is our basically PE space for the littles, because as we move into the Career Technical Center, they would be losing that space that they had further down from the ECC. And so we were going to try to move everything in, but we have been working with the architects even because we knew that wasn't probable. So it is going to be, if you approve us to move forward, far less expensive for us to use our own space. We even have in those rooms, all 3 of those rooms at Johnson, that we're going to even have the little bathrooms, because they were previously rooms for kinder. And now that we don't run kinder there, we still can make good use of those spaces, because all of our Jumpstart families that come have the littles. And so those facilities with sinks and the little toileting facilities, as well as the capacity for family changing tables and those things, are already built in. We just simply need to do a few upgrades in terms of like painting, maybe, refreshing the carpet, just clean the carpets for those spaces that haven't been used, and furniture. So we just need to get appropriate furniture for our Jumpstart parent educators, as far as something similar like at the rec center, where we have in the faculty lounge, where they have individual like kind of cubicles that they can lock their belongings and have their phone and have a little bit of a higher sides to make calls and continue their case management work. And so that is what we're proposing tonight. And if you approve of this idea and approve of the furniture, we can go to action and get that ordered, because they would be able to start there this coming school year. So they would be going into a much broader facility that won't cost us any additional rent or additional, obviously, cost to buy a facility. So we were super excited with the idea. Are there questions about that, or something that I can further explain a little more about the Jumpstart relocation?
No.
No, not really. I mean, these are all students that are transported by, we don't transport these students, right?
Nope, this
So-
is birth to 3. So they're always with
Yeah.
their parents. Yeah. And their parents come in and they take many classes and receive training and all the latest tips on what to do with your birth to 3 so that they're preschool ready and then ultimately kindergarten ready. And so over the past couple of years, they've done a great job of increasing the number of families that we service and support. But like that, we've outgrown ourselves at the ECC. And so we're now competing with space to provide community family program space versus our kiddos that are actually students. So it's really time for them to come out. We knew this was going to come to a head, especially with the renovations of the new building. But we did not expect to have the brain trust of being able to use our own space in the district already, which is an enormous savings.
I just asked that question because Johnson is probably our furthest outlying school, versus like a school like Gates that's more centralized, or one of the others, so
Right.
was that a consideration for families,
Yeah. Yeah. No one else has space,
Yeah.
because our SLC program, which is huge, is now at Gates. So they don't have any room. That is more center of the district. But I will tell you that ECC is now on Indian Trail. So they still have to go, they're not as
Yeah.
far north to
Yeah.
be at Johnson, just slightly less. So that's Liberty. So yeah.
With all the programs we offer at Johnson, we still have room.
We only, right now for this last year, one more year, having the one teacher model of dual 5th grade. And then all we will have is 3 to 5 magnet. And it will be the only program. That's how we now have the
Okay,
additional
I
spaces
get
because
it
we
then.
moved them out. Yeah, that's where the classrooms came from. Yeah. And they have no K-2, so those little rooms, which were already outfitted that were kind of child friendly or smaller child friendly, were the spaces that they're going to acquire.
So do
And
we need to vote on this tonight or?
This would
Yep,
move
for the
down to-
furniture. So if we go forward, it would just be to purchase the furniture and approve, the plan, which is because there's no other cost really.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah,
move our
I
stuff
don't
over.
know.
We'll pack them up in a nice moving van and they can move over a little bit further south and east.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Steve,
Any
is there
other-
anything you want to talk
anything or
about the
questions?
cost of the furniture? We went to the cooperative and it was really hard to get, but it's all matching and it's going to look really nice.
Yes.
That was important.
And Forward Space is the company that we worked with rec, so they're familiar with our district.
Right.
All right. Sounds good.
And then the
Okay.
next item is the Career Technical Center update. So we have been working continuously with the design and the program layout, but the interior and exterior design. In your packet, you have kind of a couple of sketches, but we wanted to also, Mr. Welter's here from Cordigan Clark, and we wanted to kind of do a walkthrough, kind of show you a 3D model of what we're looking at.
Okay.
Technical assistance needed, so.
Oh.
Peter has been working on the project to help us move forward and putting all the ideas that have come from the group. We have, I don't know, Dr. Norrell, you want to start with the site plan or just dive into the three-dimensional?
They haven't seen the site plan,
No,
so
we
we
haven't
should
seen
start
it.
with the site plan and then we can show them the elevation and all of the benefits to this elevation and drawing. Yeah, great.
Just get started here, the challenges with this site are, we've got a slope coming across the site. We've got a neighbor that we currently, the district shares some access rights to this site. So those are some things that as we designed the site, we took into consideration. You'll notice the site plan, if you could use the pointer to point to that area. So we've, in creating an access off of Mitchell on the north side of the site, northeast side of the site, it's kind of the one exit spot so we can simplify the use of the site and access. We wanted to get away from utilizing that shared access with your neighbor, the bank down below. So to do that, we've looked at removing a portion of the existing building so we can now take a road straight across that site, connect to the parking, and it really frees up the district from having to deal with challenges with coordination of neighbor and access and traffic on the site. In so doing, we've also taken the idea of moving stormwater management, which is critical to anything we do in the city. That made it a great location to create kind of a front door green space in front of the building, more welcoming view to the site, and just improve that image off the street. What you see on the far right of the site is a parking area that we created for the new career. Bless you. Sorry. And then we've extended around the building on the top side of the page. You see the bus drop off continue around out to Mitchell. So we're able to take the current bus loop, the timing of that, I believe has been, we'll have different timings so we can drop off the youngsters in Benavides and then take the few that do our bus here and will be able to be dropped off on that side. We've got parent and student access on the east side of the building. So again, we created a separation, which will lead to the safety for all those using the site. And then in between all those colors you see are the different program elements that we'll get into in the next.
And I just want to clarify, we discussed the idea of having that long driveway in the front with a roundabout or I'm from the East Coast, we call it a rotary, but we also have the opportunity to flow all the way through, or we might have that gated off So at certain times, we may not want the high schoolers driving through the ECC parking lot. So it'll depend on what we need. Our needs will be, we'll be able to shut that off or open it up.
Okay, and then do we still have access to monitor? Or not monitor?
Mitchell.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is it further back now, or is it kind of right close to the?
The proposed
street?
new entry, we're pushing back to basically the edge of the site, back edge of the
That's
site away
perfect,
from.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
If you
great.
could, do you have a cursor?
We'll jump to the three-dimensional.
Can you just show on the flat map where
Oh, yeah.
Mitchell is so that they can
Yeah,
see?
there you
Because it's not labeled. Sorry,
There
guys.
you go.
Yeah, that's Mitchell. So we would go all the way to the north right
Yeah,
there.
right at that
It's
point.
different because now we come in all the way to the south where we have now that green stretch. And remember, we pay every month Mr. Chung, who owns the corner
Yeah.
lot. We pay him, but they've made it so we're nowhere near that road and our buses will no longer need to take that
That's
road.
perfect.
Yeah.
It's too close to the corner there.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And we do believe with the traffic study that we're working through, the city would
City's gonna
require
help us
that.
get the curb cut.
With the
Yeah.
number of staff and the number of students, they would require that we move that further north, the driveway.
I think this layout allows us to get a lot of people off the street at that point, so that it'll definitely control that flow of
Yes.
traffic and improve the situation. Any concerns that people have will be alleviated with that. So I think it's positive.
And
all the way around.
Mitchell's a better entry point for newer drivers
For
to come
sure.
in than Indian Trail when they're trying to come out the lot. So if they can, our newer drivers, which are the high school kids, could come out on Mitchell, that'll be, and make a right turn only, that'll be a lot friendlier for a new driver.
Be safer for everyone.
Yes, yes. And a left on Indian Trail.
Any other questions about the site plan? We'll jump. We've got some three-dimensional conceptual sketches I want to share with you. It's been a lot of hard work with the administration, Dr. Rell, Steve, and the team have worked with our team to talk through programming. And this is the building will not be painted green, blue, and so these are just.
Oh, Rich didn't
Space.
tell us that.
If you like it, we'll do it.
No.
But this is a space, a program study of the relationships of the different spaces. Relationship to, why don't we zoom out if we could and start with kind of a deeper view. Oops. Not as easy with the fingers and no mouse. Huh?
I know.
Right.
Come on. Go.
We're getting there.
Getting there.
It's touchy mouse pad we have.
Yeah.
A little further out. So if we start a little further out, let's start at the corner of Indian Trail and Mitchell and just kind of walk
The front door.
front door. So you see, we're kind of hovering over that intersection of Mitchell and Indian Trail right now. And we're looking at the main entry to the new facility here, the Career Technical campus here. You see off to the right, we've got our cafeteria. The public area is centered on this side of the building, so easy access when there's events, when there's presentations, when the kids come and go, very accessible, very secure. You enter into a nice lobby. From there, we've got a very simple layout. We've got a spine to the right, a spine to the left. And along each of those spines, you've got classrooms in the green color on the west side of that spine, the south side of the spine, actually.
And they're
That-
two-story classroom.
This is a two-story area. As I mentioned, we've got quite the change over of elevation as you go from the existing building out to Mitchell. We're climbing a hill, kind of. So some of this, as we develop and get more information about the topography, we'll start to carve away and figure out the transition of that. Potentially a ramp within the building to make some adjustments so we can look at the balancing of the site to come up with an economical way to make sure we're not hauling too much off the site ultimately. So the green up front is classrooms. On the back side, you've got all your two-story spaces for the various shops that are going to be taken care of in the program areas, the aviation, manufacturing, construction, woods and welding are all back there. And then across from the cafeteria on the backside in the red there, that's the automotive area. So we've got access off the back for vehicles, drop-offs to all these various two-story active areas. Where the front, the green area can be a little cleaner. It's classrooms, stacked classrooms. The one green space I forgot to mention is there's a larger space on the end there, which is going to be a multi-purpose auditorium. So we can gather students in large groups for presentations by manufacturers,
Right.
product people, by colleges, universities that might be coming there to talk about one of their trade or one of the career paths that might be going on. So we can get a large group to attend there. You see on the far right, which is getting into the white, which is the existing building. We mentioned taking off the front part of the building so we can connect those two parking lots, keep the people, the students and traffic off the adjacent neighbors. But we also are able to utilize some of the existing space for some program area as well. And that is a piece of, trying to thinking about big picture, the affordability of this project. That's going to help us save some money as we start to renovate some of these spaces versus building new. So I think we've had several great meetings with the team to kind of work through. We had started with 3 to 5 options and have kind of whittled this down to what you see tonight. I think everyone's likes the direction we're headed, and hopefully you guys are liking what you see as well.
And I want to just add one quick thing as you talked about this journey to get here. Rich spent probably, and I'll look at Principal Mitchell in the back. Principal Mitchell, myself, and Rich probably spent 3 hours at the high school going through all of our current programs, seeing what's in the classrooms. This is going to be night and day. We actually physically talked, and he wrote down to copious notes from our current welding teacher, our current construction trades teachers. And they're like, this doesn't work in this space. This is what we really need to do these new certification levels. So he did a good job taking into consideration what they were actually asking for and what they needed to bring our program up to the 21st century. And so with all of that, he then incorporated these spaces where, the front is the 2-story classrooms, of the back being 1 story, but large spaces with, like, our construction trades teacher, Mr. Klinger, was saying, like, we don't have, in most construction trades programs, offer and place for an indoor-outdoor build option. And now we can't build. They were sitting in almost like an old science lab classroom to do construction trades. So a lot of those things he incorporated into the design. And then now he wants to circle back, pending your approval to keep going, and have longer meetings with the teachers about equipment and those kinds of things. But I think it's really important to note that he did that due diligence to get to this level. He met with Mr. Anderson, who does all of the prototyping and engineering programs and CAD programs and all of that. So I just wanted the board to be aware that a lot of that structure and shaping came from our teachers. That was big.
It's very, those meetings are critical to make sure we get this right. And we take in that consideration. We throw back ideas. Those next meetings we have, talk about the detail, and I will start to figure out exactly what we have in these spaces and how that plays out. So,
Even, I've mentioned this, Craig, at previous meetings, maybe you weren't here, but even getting out of our own, silo and looking at what our neighbors are doing. There's some impressive things going on with, a few districts around here that certainly we can look at and get,
Yeah, Rich and I have talked about potentially setting up a tour visit with the district, potentially, if there's some interest there, and taking a look at some.
Where did you, I know Rich, Asa, Steve, there was a curriculum piece Delaco went at the time to Wabanzi's latest Plano campus.
Yes.
Where else did you guys went there? Maybe what?
They went out to Plano, right? There's
Right,
They're
on
new
Plano,
on 34.
So we need to go. And some people have been to West, I know, in
Yeah,
their
the
lab, because they have
Wisner.
the Wisner,
And
center.
Oswego, I know, has a strong program, and even out in Caneland. And
And then there's
further.
also the Valley,
Yeah.
Joliet.
where you've been
Or,
to the, he's been to the,
Romeoville.
Yeah, the College of, the Tech Center, DuPage,
yes,
Wilco,
yes,
and the Indian Valley.
yes.
Yeah.
there you
Yeah, there's a lot of great, modern, very, very new
Yes,
developments out there
and
that we're
ACES
going to take
and
all
Rich
the
have done
input we
that,
can
yeah.
from any of those and make
Yeah.
sure this is going to be at that level.
Forgive me, Craig.
They'll be better.
And better.
If you mentioned this, the overlay over the rotary there, what is that?
Oh.
Yeah. What?
That is the front part of the existing building.
Oh,
So to make
okay,
this connection
okay.
work and
That's what has
keep
to
our
be.
property, we have to take off that front. It's kind of a
I see. Yeah.
mid-level
Mhm.
front end right now that is going to be fairly easy to remove because it's already structurally separated in some ways from the rest of the building.
I see. Okay.
But it allows us to make that connection, keep the students and everyone who's with the school district on your property and not have to rely on the neighborhood. So,
Sure.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
There's also a report out with the King County ROE that they did all the survey of all the schools. And we're in that survey too, but
Mhm.
it may be interesting to get the recap report.
Okay.
Yeah, so you may want to ask them for that. Maybe there's some other innovative things out there. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
okay.
Well,
That's
we're
great.
moving fast and appreciate the board, the administration, the team from the school district being part of this because we're trying to
Yeah,
move this
it's
along
exciting.
and it's, I think we're on the right track. And
Yeah,
a lot
that's
has
great.
been done. So.
And you guys are doing a lot of work with Train, who is our provider for us to have the same source, the same mechanicals.
systems,
Yeah. And
right.
they're looking at your specs to then outfit what the requirements would be for HVAC, because a large portion of our dollars would be eligible for the entire HVAC funding. So we're looking to be able to bring that to the board in August maybe, so that
Yeah.
those ESSER dollars could be expended from that too.
Yeah, and that's why it's critical that we keep moving quickly because we need to establish space sizes so we can start to look at the actual equipment and then we'll be able to
Yeah.
meet that
None of that
deadline
comes
of
from local funds, right?
ordering that early enough and getting that invoice so we can take advantage of the money you have in hand. So.
Yeah.
So all goes well. When are we breaking ground?
Well,
Let's cut right to the
yeah.
chase.
August, right? No, I'm kidding. City council, we're going to make their
We-
meetings in August.
We've got a few steps to take with the city. We're gonna have to go back to them. There's some surveying, there's some other information we need to really make sure we're nailing this down before we jump too far ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Do things right. So,
Right.
but we are focused on the train component because that will allow us to get something out
Spend the
there
dollars,
that
yeah.
addresses, we need to spend that money.
Maybe before winter.
I'm hoping before winter we'll be breaking ground.
There you
So
go.
I'm not going to nail down a date quite yet. We got to get another month. Let's say
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
month.
Oh, that's
we can give
fine.
you a
Yeah,
little
I'm thinking
bit
before November
more
would be friendly.
to talk exactly where we're at. So
No pressure. Pre-Halloween. Yeah.
Exciting stuff. That's awesome.
All right.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
And then,
That should be it.
the last item was the work order summary.
Oh, yes.
And then I did have a little show and tell here. This is our lockers.
Oh, wonderful.
Yay.
Oh, the cell phone lockers. There we
You already
go.
did this one. We're going to show the whole board too
I'm gonna
tonight.
kind of yell, but. So this is a sample. This is a sample of the cell phone lockers. It would be really double the size because there's going to be 34 slots. And this is a sample, so it has a couple of different locking mechanisms, but we're going with this here. And so there would be a key in here. The student opens up, they go ahead and put their phone in there, and then they take the key to class. I mean, they're in class, and then when they want their cell phone, they come over here and they just open it and grab their phone. There is a master key that the teacher will have that opens up each individual, or the master also can open up the whole. And then they could, I mean, if there was a situation where they needed to do that, they could do that. But they have that option as well. But again, this was the sample just to make sure it's what we were looking for. So this combination lock and this is just a compartment without a lock. Those were other options that we did not go with because we wanted it to be secure.
Okay.
So
All right.
that's basically what we're looking at.
When are those going to be?
They're coming at the end of July, so we're gonna get them right in the classrooms. We will need to bolt them to the side of the wall.
Is the thought to have them by the exit door? Or?
Yeah, I know that Miss Mitchell is working with her crew and really scoping each classroom and where they will fit and how that'll work. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I can't wait for the feedback on those. Interesting.
It's been in the news quite a bit that
Yeah.
Yeah.
New York
districts
is getting
are
ready to go.
districts
Full
are across the country are
Yeah.
banning cell phones in classrooms. So
I think Indiana went, Illinois is looking at it. So
Yes,
Yeah.
Peoria just went, all of Peoria.
Peoria's went, Illinois is looking at it from a state.
And I mean, I
point.
think in here, that's a great spot right
So,
under the fire.
Looks like we're
Yeah,
we're
we talked
ahead,
about
cutting
that.
edge.
We talked
Again.
about
We could
yeah.
start with the adults in this room.
Uh-huh.
Come in, if you want to come to the board meeting, put your
Yeah.
phone up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great.
If there's
We'd be worse than the kids.
any other questions, or that'll be for this
Right.
evening.
Just, I know the board at the last meeting, we did a lot of discussion. There was not concerns, but there were questions asked about like the 5-year plan and, kind of
Yes.
projecting out, what kind of expenses we're anticipating over the next several years. Because that was needed for the board. And I think it expressed this as a whole, like to understand what the vote should be on certain things, right? So can we put that on the next?
Yes, we are working on that with the architects right now. We are also reviewing the 10-year health, life, safety,
got it
which
back.
is that
Okay.
piece,
Yeah.
which we're actually doing that tomorrow.
Yeah.
So then, yes, in August, we'll bring back the 5-year plan and we can take a look at all of that process.
And then the only other request I have for a future report, maybe perhaps not in the next meeting, but from our safety and security team. They had provided, if you remember, Dr. Norrell, a report to us a few months back,
Yeah.
several months back.
Yeah.
Need to
Kind
see
of on
what they're
what
up
the
to.
officers are up to and where.
Yeah, we could absolutely do that for this year. And we'll take a look at it because we like to give you as detailed of a report as possible. So maybe some pieces of it may be closed session.
Yeah.
And some pieces of it could even be open because obviously with that, we want to not compromise some of our plans and things that,
Yeah.
we know to the public for the safety of our kids and our faculty, but we will definitely easily get a detailed report for the next B&G meeting.
Yeah.
Yep. That's easy.
And are we still moving ahead? Have we worked with the union on the facial recognition yet?
Yes, I have. Becky and I were slammed. I will say that jointly. So Ms. Gentile, be sure to tell her that I said she and I, we were slammed at the end of the year. And so what her idea was that we wait until our fall, I believe, is it August, House of Delegates, because they really had a lot with block scheduling and the cell phones. And so we kind of ran out of time with them. So we're prepared to let our union leaders come in earlier in August and take a look at that. John Fester already he's working on the MOU because he had it to begin with so that she can start taking it to the House of Delegates in August after they've had an opportunity to walk through it. The same MOU would be presented to NJROTC and SEIU. And I also have on the same time that they're going to do the walkthrough, SEIU union stewards are invited as well as the president of our NJROTC union. So all of those groups already know that they will be invited together to kind of take a look at what it looks like. And then I will also be able to give them the draft MOU at that time and answer questions. But they kind of had asked that we push it back. I know SEIU is 12 months, so it's easier for them. But IFT asked for if they could do it House of Delegates first thing for the FY25 year. So that's our delay at this point.
Okay, but it's up and running and it more or less
Yes.
works.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And
All right.
we have the
So
increased cameras
it's
up
up and
too.
running with student IDs in there, and we will
Right.
load up the staff as we
As we
go through
clear it
this
with
training.
the unions. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because we're going to go for MOU with them to talk about how we're going to use it. But individuals outside of the union still get an opportunity to opt in. So our MOU will basically stipulate how we plan to use it. But then individuals, per the state of Illinois, still have the right as an individual citizen to opt in or not opt in because it's biometrics. And then if they don't, we will just stipulate what in the MOU that will mean. And that will just simply mean doors of access. That's all. It'll just mean which doors they'll come in. But for someone to be able to go into any door at any time, then they would be an opt-in and they would be under the MOU. So as soon as they approve it in August, it'll come to full board because they usually go first. And then once it's clear, then we bring it to the board for you to say, okay. Yep.
Steve,
All right,
anything
sounds
else?
good.
Dr. Norrell, anything else? Anything else?
No,
No? Annette?
no.
Okay, we're
Think we
adjourned at
got it.
6:54.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right.